Hi guys, today we're going to do some right triangle trig, some SOHCAHTOA. Solving each triangle means we're going to find all of the missing parts and we're going to round answers to the nearest tenth. Alright, let's say we wanted to find side BC first, which is the opposite leg of the given angle. So you've got to label, and we also have the adjacent leg. So let's try to find the opposite leg, and we have the adjacent leg from the given angle. Opposite and adjacent, that would be tangent. So we write tangent of the 33.7 degree angle equals the opposite leg, which is segment BC, over the adjacent leg, which is 6. I'm going to multiply both sides by 6 and make sure my calculator is in degree mode. And I end up with BC equals 4.00. So we'll say 4 kilometers. All right, now this time I'd like to find the hypotenuse. So I want to find side AB. Given this angle, 6 is the adjacent leg. I'm trying to find the hypotenuse. The adjacent leg and the hypotenuse, that would be cosine. So I'm going to write cosine of the 33.7 degree angle equals the adjacent leg, which is 6, divided by the hypotenuse, which is segment AB. To find this one, I'm going to multiply both sides by AB, and that would give me AB cosine 33.7 equals 6. And then we will divide by cosine 33.7. So to find AB, I will take 6 divided by cosine 33.7, and I'll be back. And I got AB is equal to 7.2 kilometers. And when you do your work, I want to make sure that you guys are showing me the equation that you use to set up. So this equation and this equation, and I know from there you're going to do it in your calculator. To find angle B, which is the third and last thing that we need to find in this problem, angle A and angle B add up to 90. Because angle C is 90, all three angles add up to 180. So A and B add up to 90. So to find angle B, I'm going to take 90 degrees minus 33.7. And I come up with angle B is equal to 56.3 degrees. All right, moving on. That's called solving the triangle. We found the 3 missing parts that we did not have: angle B, side BC, and side AB. This is really the same thing, only you sketch the drawing. The thing to remember in this is when you draw a triangle and you label the vertices, the opposite side has the same name as the angle, only it's lowercase. So little a is opposite angle A. Little b is the side opposite angle B. And little c is opposite angle C. So that's how you properly name a triangle. All right, let's move on to the next problem. This is the harder problem on this worksheet. It says find cosecant, which is sine's reciprocal. So you know that sine of an angle is equal to the opposite leg over the hypotenuse. So the cosecant of an angle is equal to the hypotenuse over the opposite leg. So it says that secant of an angle is negative 6 root 7 over 13. And the angle lies between pi and 3 pi over 2. So this is pi, of course, and this is 3 pi over 2, and our angle lies between. So our angle lies somewhere in quadrant 3. We're going to draw up to the x-axis and over. Theta is always at the origin. If secant is negative 6 over 7, and secant is the reciprocal of cosine, then this is cosine is the adjacent leg over the hypotenuse, so this is hypotenuse over the adjacent leg. So the hypotenuse is always positive, so we're going to make it 6 square root 7. And the adjacent leg, we're going to use the negative sign with the 13. So the adjacent leg to this angle, to theta, the adjacent leg is negative 13, which makes sense. It should be negative because it's in quadrant 3. All right. Now we'll need to find the missing side. We'll just call it x for simplicity. So we're going to use Pythagorean theorem. X squared plus negative 13 squared is equal to 6 square root 7 squared. So x squared plus 169 equals 36 times 7. You square the 36 and you square the square root of 7, and then you multiply them together. 36 times 7 is 252. So that equals 252. So x squared plus 169 equals 252. We're going to subtract 169, and we get 83. So x squared is equal to 83 square root. We always put plus minus when we take the square root. Now let's go back and let's look at where this lies in our triangle. This is actually the negative value of the triangle. It's the sine value, it's the y value. So we're going to use negative square root of 83. Negative square root of 83. Okay, that makes sense. Negative 13 for the x value, negative square root of 83 for the y value, and the hypotenuse is 6 root 7. So remember when we talked about cosecant, cosecant is the hypotenuse over the opposite leg. So we're ready to find the cosecant of theta. The hypotenuse is 6 square root 7, and the opposite leg is negative square root of 83. Now we know we never leave radicals in the bottom of a fraction, so we'll multiply by square root of 83 over itself. When we multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. So the cosecant of theta is going to equal 6 times the square root of, when you multiply radicals, you multiply the numbers underneath the square root sign. So I'm going to take 7 times 83, and that gives me 581. So I have the square root of 581 over negative square root of 83 times square root of 83 is just 83. You could leave the negative sign in the denominator, or you could move that negative sign up here to the middle of the fraction, and that would be fine too. There's not very much room. Let me see if I can't make that a little better. Okay. All right. Moving on to the last problem. The last problem is a 30, 60, 90, and hopefully we remember 30, 60, 90s revolve around the short leg. The hypotenuse is 2 times the short leg, so if my short leg is 5/7, then 2 times 5/7 will give me the hypotenuse. I'm going to make it 2 over 1, so I can multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. So the hypotenuse is 10/7, and the long leg is always the short leg times the square root of 3. So we have 5/7 times the square root of 3, technically over 1. We multiply straight across the top, so we get 5 square root of 3. We multiply straight across the bottom and get 7. All right, guys, hope that helps. Have a great evening.